and then we'll be followed up with the customer complaint and then the product recall. So with these three topics, our session will get, the general session will get over. Further, we'll be rolling out the fourth session. Okay. So please pay attention. I think we received the responses for the the course finalization. So it is 254. So total 254 entries have been received. I hope you are verifying your entries. So please be ensure that you are paid the fees as well as you have been registered and we have been notified on your registration, which means this list will go to the certification body and then we will be getting guys, hope you heard my voice because I was telling something about the payment and assessment program. So I repeat again. So please pay attention on the payment. Okay, if suppose you are not able to pay within 19th of this month, as agreed with VIT. If suppose you couldn't able to still pay within this 19th, we can able to accept your payment directly to us through any other payment link. Directly will be sent by us. Okay, please pay attention that if all of you paid at a time, then the the assessment plan can be fixed with the assessment body, and then we can have one common date for all the people to have an assessment. Okay, that we will finalize the date which will be suitable for all of you guys. Maybe like you can, if it is acceptable for you to work on weekends like Saturday or Sunday, we can have a session. Okay, don't worry about this examination. It will be a very flexible. The purpose of this examination is to make yourself understand the process. Okay, so all the things will be easy. Don't worry on the examination point, assessment point. So please pay attention on this. So now let's move to the topic. It's about quality risk management. So yesterday we discussed a lot about the risk management or the risk assessment. So risk assessment, risk management is something very, very similar. Okay. So risk management is a procedure which will dictate how to do your risk assessment. That's it. So yesterday we saw the deviation and then OOS and then investigation, right? Before that we saw the risk, how to identify the risk, how to eliminate the risk, right? So this is the content. Okay, what is risk? Of course, principle of risk management process, risk assessment, risk control, risk communication, risk review, risk management methodology, integration of quality risk management into industry and regulatory and general operations. So some examples. Okay, so the words, very important keywords in the risk management process is, of course, the risk management is the keyword. Risk assessment, of course, we use this word for many times as a risk assessment. Risk control, so how to control the risk is the risk control. Risk communication, how you are communicating the risk is the risk communication, which means identifying the risk and putting in a proper paper to understand the risk. So risk, that is called a kind of a risk communication. You are communicating the risk, transferring the risk which is in a virtual to the paper form. So somewhere risk is present everywhere, right? When you are walking, you should be very cautious. It's not one risk you have. There are multiples of risk will be there. Okay, maybe the vehicle will be moving, or maybe there will be a stone on the way. So these are the identification of risk. So similarly, all these virtual risks will be communicated in a proper language. That is risk communication. Risk review. Once you identified all the list of risk, that to be reviewed for its process. And the one word is missing in this topic content is risk mitigation, which means that you're responding to the risk, or you're countering the risk. You're eliminating the risk. That is called risk mitigation. Okay. So now, what is risk? In a general dictionary, possibility of loss or injury or dangerous element or factor. So anything which is not suitable or against to us is a risk. Okay. In simple word, it is a potential undesirable outcome. So something which is coming out from any activity which may cause either a loss of life, or any injury, or any side effect. Okay, because we are talking about the product, right? The product is a pharmaceutical product here. So by taking this pharmaceutical product, what kind of risk will be happening to the human after its use? So that is considered as a risk. So ICHQ9, okay, is exclusive for the risk management process. ICHQ9 is available in the internet, a complete set of procedures, which is a dictating in the terms of guidelines. Okay, so that is the base for all the regulations. ICHQ9 is the base, okay, for all the international regulations. US, Europe, what is it called, TGA, any country you consider, there will be a basic elements from this ICHQ9. Okay, you want to deep dive into this, you can always download and go through this and verify. The combination of the probability of occurrence of harm, undesired effect. Harm here is undesired effect, and severity of that harm, severity of that effect. So there is a probability word, you can see occurrence, it's a next word, and severity. Hope yesterday we saw that severity, occurrence, and detectability. There is another word we saw is a detectability. So detectability is the better control. If you have high detection, it's a better control. Low detection, it's a poor control. So there is a risk, there is a severity on the risk, there is a occurrence multiple times or a single time. So this is the probability of the occurrence, how frequently you will be getting. Let's take an example. You are walking on the road where you have a lot of stones, okay, then the probability of slipping while walking on the stones is more when you are walking on the empty plain street, okay, in a cement road. If you're walking on the cement road, there is no any stones or whatever maybe, so you will be eliminated the risk of a lot of pebbles or stones in the on the way. If you're walking in the jungle, definitely there will be a lot of pebbles here and there, and the small stones, slippery stones, or whatever maybe. When you're walking near the riverside, there will be always a slippery stones, right? So this is the risk in a very, very simple way. So if you're walking on a plain street, there is less number of occurrence of slippery from the stones because there is no water stagnation. But you are walking on the river side, obviously there is a more occurrence of slippery stones. So it is obviously you will be having risk more. Okay, this is indirectly the risk is more. If there is one slippery stone, you can identify, but there are many slippery stones. You have to be very cautious in your next steps, right? So severity, if you fall down, you can break something or get damaged or injured or get wound. So this is the severity. It's a very layman explanation I gave for you. Okay. Here, what we are discussing, since the product, we are discussing the pharmaceutical product, the risk is for the patients. So who need the intended medicine will have a side effects or any other form of injury caused by the medicine. What can cause? For example, if my process is not well established, I may get some glass particles, that is a risk. If I get some benzene, because my process is not adequate to clean up all these impurities, benzene is a risk because it will lead to get some cancerous diseases. So that's a risk. So this is the identification of the risk. Harm. In a general word, damage to health. Okay, anything which is impacting us, it's a harmful event for us. Okay, including the damage that can occur from loss of product quality or availability. For example, if the product is being told to have paracetamol 250 mg, but because of your less quality, if you are delivering only the 200 mg, because people will do this kind of unethical way of work to get the more product, more volume. Instead of keeping 250 mg or making 100 tablets, with 200 mg you can make another 50 more tablets, right? So this is a simple calculation, but this is unethical. The reason is the strength which is mentioned as 250 mg is not given to you. So this is considered as a harmful because the intention of the 250 mg in your body will not be successful. So you may be thinking that your body is not considering the 250 mg, and unfortunately the medicine is having only 200 mg, which is not right dose for your body to solve the particular problem. So obviously what you will do next time, you go and ask for 500 mg. You make your body to work with the higher level of dose. Body can able to still work with the lower level, but because of the substandard medicine, you may be taking this kind of risk. Okay, so lower the quantity or the quality or the strength also is a harmful. Hazard, these are the important word in the risk management. Okay, the potential source of harm. So where the source is generating, that is called the hazardous point. Okay, uncertainty, the inability to determine or the ambiguity in the true state of system. Okay, so it is uncertain system, maybe yes or no, something like that. Risk assessment, a systematic process of organizing information to support a risk decision to be made within a risk management process. It's generally a complete process of risk identification, risk evaluation, risk assessment, risk control, risk elimination. Okay, risk review also. So this is the flow you have to think in your mind. Okay, first is identification, and then your action on the risk, maybe assessment we can tell, and then control the risk, review the risk, and mitigate the risk. So this is a simple flow. Risk control, action implementing risk management decision. So action implementing to reduce the risk, actually you are controlling the risk, right? You are reducing the risk, power of the risk. So that is risk control. Risk reduction, action to taken to eliminate or lessen the probability of occurrence. So you are reducing the risk. There the above point is like implementing action to control. Here it is going to reduce the risk. Okay, for example, all the stones should be thrown away from the side of the river. Of course, it's not possible. Just you think about when you're walking, someone should take care about that. All the slippery stones are removed. So it's safe for you. So this is a risk reduction process. But always you have to think cleverly about the best risk reduction process that will be based on the situation. Risk review. Review or monitoring the output result of the risk management process. Okay, new knowledge and experience about the risk. So you will be having some methodology or some new technologies, which may be an automated process or a manual process or a procedural control process. So risk review is just the monitoring the output of the result. So quality risk management, a general topic about the risk handling, a systematic process for the assessment, control, communication, and review, okay, of risk. To the quality of the drug. So everything which relates to the quality of the drug, product quality, direct product quality, patient risk, everything has been collectively called as the quality risk management. So risk measurement, how to measure the risk. So as I mentioned, severity versus probability. More probable, more severe. Very simple. Okay, risk is probability, severity. Severity is there. Severity will not change the reduce the risk level. Okay, severity remains same. If there is a slippery stone, you will fall down. That's it. Okay, there is a injury. That is clear. Okay, probability. How many times you will fall? That may vary. That is a cautious decision when you are keeping the next every step. So that is the probability. You can reduce the probability by putting more control. Severity will not change at the initial as well as the post risk implementation, which means the stone is there, you will fall down, that is severity. But the probability initially is more because of more stones. After that, if you removed all the stones, only 2 or 3 stones, unattendedly you missed. So that will be the risk for you. You can walk very peacefully without any disturbance. So the probability of risk is reduced. Okay, so this is a basic example. Risk priority number. So probability multiplied by severity multiplied by detectability. So D stands here for the detectability. So if detectability is more, obviously you are in a safer zone, because let's take an example. You have a kind of app that can find you the slippery stones. Just imagination. Just you have the app in the hand and you just keep walking. So that the stone, the app will let you know that okay, this stone is slippery. Don't take a next step there. So your risk is eliminated. Detectability is there 100% based on the accuracy of the app. Okay, this is an example. So when you have a system very closely monitoring, 100% detectability is available, then you are in a safer side. Let's take a pharmaceutical example. The inspection will be happening, the vial inspection. For example, there is a person who sits and check all the vials for its quality. There is no any broken vials. There is no any damage in the vials, because this is going to the commercial. Next, it will go to the commercial place. So that last point where the person is checking each vial should check all the points. Okay, maybe 5 to 6 points are there. Broken vial. There should not be any vial part, broken glass particle inside. There should not be any cosmetic defects. These are the functionalities of the visual inspectors. So let's take 3 points. Okay, no broken, no glass particle inside, no cosmetic defects. If suppose the person, usually the visual inspector should sit for 4 hours only to do the job. Okay, because of the fatigueness. If you are doing a same job by sitting beyond 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you will lose the job and some material will keep going without your knowledge, because your presence of mind will not be like a machinery to focus all the continuous 4 hours. Okay, so that's the reason the rotation will be there in the visual inspection process. First 4 hours, the one person will review, means check the bottles, and then there will be a rotation. Next person will come, and the next person will come. So they will be having a rotational work. This is a GMP requirement, because the operator should not get fatigueness. Okay, that is operational fatigue, we call it as. Perfect. So now there is a situation, there is one vial broken, okay, and the person missed it. Then it moves to the next position. There should be another person should be verifying that, or there should be a automated visual inspection machines are there in place. So that machine should at least detect the material. So if that is there, your risk of all these 3 defects going to the client or the customer is highly controlled, because you have a best detectability after this process. If suppose you don't have a best detectability after this visual inspection, then your risk of getting this cosmetic defects, glass particle defects are high in the market, because you will not rely on the one person sitting for 4 hours checking and then next person checking. So it's a manual operation, right? So manual operation, we can't get 100% accuracy. There may be chance like 1 in 100 vials the person may miss. This is called visual inspector qualification. Okay, like I told, analyst qualification, right? Similarly, the person will be given a set of damaged vials that they won't know. Okay, which are the damaged vials, they won't highlight it, but they will give out of 100 vials, there will be 20 defective vials. They mix good vials and bad vials and give it to the inspector during the qualification. The inspector, the visual inspector, should able to remove all the 20 vials which has been mixed with the good vials. Then your success rate is that person by that time can able to do that 20 vials, he can able to remove it, because he has the knowledge how the small the problem is. He knows that he particularly selects and remove that. This is the trial, or this is a qualification testing for that visual inspector. If suppose during the visual inspection, instead of 20 vials he should remove, which is a bad vials, he removed only 10 bad vials, which means the person allows another 10 vials to go into the market. So this is success for us? No, because the person is not eligible to detect all the bad vials. So which means there is no control if that person does that job. So that is the reason every testing, okay, every assessment, always we expect 100% result, because during the examination itself you have 80% of flexibility, means you can leave 20% of unattended or mistaken is allowed. 20% mistake is allowed. Think about in a pharma industry, how much percentage will be there in a thousands or lakhs of vials. Hope you got the point, right? So 100% is always important in the assessment process. That's why we always encourage to have a assessment with 100%. Suppose that is not possible, everyone knows about that. So if you get 80%, then what you missed, the 20%, right? You missed some 20%. That we have to re-educate you, which means we have to tell that which are all the mistakes you have done should be retrained you. Okay, that is the industrial practice. So it is not like that you can have a 80% allowed and we can lift it. That remaining 20% will be retrained and you will be getting that knowledge. That also will be documented. Okay, so this is the situation for the visual inspection. So the detectability is more when there is an automation system, often used in FMEA and FMCA. Okay, if you want, you can just Google on the, it is, I think yesterday we saw that about FMEA also, failure mode effective analysis. Okay, so risk can be quantified or qualitative. Okay, the next FMECA is a cost analysis, failure mode and effective cost analysis. Okay, risk can be quantified or qualitative. So now your qualitative, qualified means quantitative means you have numbers. You have 4 you are giving for the probability and 3 for the severity. So the total is risk is 12. You have a qualitative address also, like moderate, major, unacceptable. Yesterday we saw in the data criticality, I believe you can remember that, high, medium, low. So usually the industrial practice is going with high, medium, low, critical, major, minor, and some companies will follow the numbering system, because the numbering system, they can define it. If it is beyond 25, then you have to do this kind of exercise. If it is below 10, you can do this kind of exercise. So that numbering will help them to categorize the risk. It's a high risk, medium risk, or low risk. Why it is for pharma industry? Of course, everyone knows that medicinal products do not place patient at risk due to inadequate safety and quality and efficacy. So they should, manufacturers should ensure that there should not be any risk to the patients. That is very, very important. Example, many recalls occur every year. It shows your performance. It shows your poor performance. If the company is always having recalls, that indicates that you are poor performance. Okay. Of course, yesterday we saw something about the recall of this face cream, right, from Johnson & Johnson. That is the information about the analytical part, where they identified benzene is more. Okay. So in that situation, of course, this is a fault from the R&D or the product development, where they failed to understand the impurities level at the earlier stage. Think about that product is existing in the market more than 10 years or 15 years. It's a rough example, I don't know about that. But if that is there existing for the last 5 to 10 years at least, what happened if the person has been used for continuously for many years? So which means every facial cream application, you have taken about benzene for minimum ppm. So this is the risk. That's why people we encourage to have, if it is needed, then go for the treatment. Okay. So these are all cosmetics. Of course, people will be regularly using for sunshine effect, sun effect, everything. But still, that is a risk for us, right? Because now who is going to pay the penalty? We don't know what happens now. So of course, there is a system there for penalty. You can claim from the Johnson & Johnson if anything goes wrong. But there should be a lot of data to be provided. Okay, in human, in microbiology, in life science, there is always a chance that each individual will react in a different way. Okay, it's not like a mission that everyone will be having same kind of problem. So they will tell that they can defend you that this is not because of this situation. Okay, because you got cancer not because of this application. Maybe your food habit, you have taken something different. So all these will come. So they can defend the case easily. But still, there is a possibility if anything goes wrong, that can be challenged. So medicinal products manufactured with validated process do in fact put patients at risk, which means even we do a lot of validation, lot of controls, everything has been in place, but still this kind of issues may happen. It may be human error or maybe systemic error. Human error can be addressed, identified, and solved. System error is very risk to solve because it's a complete change in the system. Okay, so 21st century GMP initiatives comes up with Q8, Q9, Q10. These are all upgradation of the quality pharmaceutical system. Okay, integration of quality system with the risk management, because quality should integrate with the risk so that there will be more controlled environment to avoid the risk. Regulatory agencies encourages the adoption of modern and innovative manufacturing technology, high-end technologies, high-end identification systems, whatever systems which can rule out the manual errors. They encourage all those systems. Okay, of course that should be validated and proved. Pre-approval review will be easier and faster. Okay, so you can get pre-approved from the if you create a new technology for any detection, and that can be get pre-approved, so that can be launched. Scientific analysis to address quality issues, especially those associated with the predictable or identifiable health risk. So anything should be scientifically sound. So advantages of risk-based GMP. Nowadays, this risk-based word is always applicable in pharma industry, which means there is a risk assessment behind the scene. That is called risk-based approach. Okay, anytime you go with a risk-based approach, then you are filtering some hundreds of issues there, but you are focusing on the critical patient safety, patient-centric and health-centric issues. So that is a kind of a risk-based approach that will minimize the, you focus the, at least not the minimize, that is, at least focus the issues. Risk, ranking the risk, okay? It allows prioritization. You can rank. So this is a high priority. You remember yesterday we saw the criticality, where the criticality of the document is high and there is a less control, then that is a red zone, it's a high risk. Okay, that is called risk ranking. Improved decision making. Of course, this matrix will definitely help you in improving the decision making, what to attend first, not to hit the other point, but hit the right point which is going to be providing us a risk. Identify the most benefit to the patient. Okay, means of building in quality. So quality should be built in a risk-based approach. Documentation. This documentation will improve a very clear communication and identification of the risk. Regulatory approach, of course, regulatory also welcome this kind of risk-based approach. Even the regulatory also follows the risk-based auditing plan. For example, if there is no any recalls, any complaints, and all your data are very clean and well established, because there should be a metrics. FDA metrics will go to the authority. How many products you manufacture? How many OOs is there? If you manufacture 1,000 products, okay, fine. How many rejects? If you reject 0, you're good. If you reject 100 batches, you're bad. So the inspector will get a hint why 100 batches are rejected. Okay, then you are in a list of audit. Your priority will be coming in a 10 top, a 10 levels top. Okay, next you have hundreds of customer complaints. Then you will be coming top again in the list. Then you have more recalls. You will be the first to come and visit. Okay, so this is a risk-based approach. If you are having a good controlled system, you are away from the audits. Of course, due to this pandemic, you will be still away from the audit. If you are in a high risk state, anytime the auditors will come and defend you for the process improvements. Okay, you understand the risk base now. Now, regulators determine risk category. Accordingly, post-approval changes review and Gmp inspection. The one which was telling about that. So Gmp inspection, if the outcome is no observations, you are super. You are doing well in the market. If you are coming with minor observation, still you are super, because it's the ego of the auditor also sometimes is there. They want to give some observation. Okay, agreed. If you are no major and no critical, you are still super. Okay. If suppose you have one critical, yes, it's a possibilities are there. For example, it's a new approach, new technology, new molecule, new methodology. Obviously, you may get some improvement plan. It may be critical. Well, it is understood. I am a new player in the market, and I am top of everyone. I can get some criticality issues, but I can able to solve that problem. That is fine. But you are in a sustaining in the market for a long time, but you have a lot of recalls, a lot of customer complaints, lot of observations in your audits, then that is a poor performance. So you will be always listed in the blacklisted in the list for auditing. So you will be in a miserable position. Okay, and you can't sell the product in that case. So what is the use if you're not able to sell the product? And what is the use of having a company? And what is the use of running the business? So business is always to sell the product, and to sell at a good price, you need a regulated market. So to need a regulated market, you need a skilled employees. So in future, you guys will be a skilled employees. Okay, so that's the intention. Results: removal of barrier to continuous improvement, efficient use of resources. Of course, these are very basic points. What's in a name? Many of us do risk assessment and risk management without calling it as. Okay, so for example, warehouse temperature mapping is a form of risk assessment. Why you do a mapping? To understand that all the locations are distributing the same temperature. It's a kind of risk, avoiding the risk. If suppose somewhere the temperature is not well attained, then you can do some corrective action. So it's basically a risk assessment plan. Assessment in the change control is a risk management. As I told in the previous sessions, change control will have an impact analysis or risk analysis. So that is a form of a risk assessment. Validation master plan is a form of a risk management. So we discussed also in the VMP that there will be a risk management process, risk analysis process. Self-inspection and audit program is itself a risk management, because you are avoiding the risk by frequent intervention. You are visiting the site, you are going to the different department, and you are ensuring that every time I am in a control state. So frequently you are reducing the risk. So risk assessment, I think we saw this in the deviation class and the risk investigation class and all, right? The same applies here. Risk assessment is the process of identifying the harm, hazards, and evaluating the potential consequences of the harms. So the assessment process must answer the following question. What might go wrong? What is the probability it will go wrong? What are the consequences of the product quality? Will the failure be detected? So you're talking about the severity here, what might go wrong, probability, that is called occurrence, and how I can safely detect it. Okay, if there is a more severity, more occurrence, high detectability, more occurrence, high detectability, you are in a safer side. High occurrence, low detectability, you are in a risk side. Low occurrence, low detectability, still you are in a safer side because the occurrence is low. So there won't be any multiple issues can happen. So this is the combination of risk assessment. Please keep in the mind severity, occurrence or likelihood. We call it as likelihood or occurrence. Both are applicable. Probability also. Okay. Severity, occurrence, and detectability. So detectability is very, very important. That will make you to know the weightage to decrease or increase. If your detectability is very high, your product is safe. If your detectability is very low, your product at risk. This is inversely proportional. Okay, low occurrence, high detectability, very good. Low occurrence, low detectability. Okay, because the occurrence is also low. Considering the risk is low. Okay, risk is high, occurrence is low, detectability also is low. Then the risk is remaining same, right? High is high always. So the risk is there. So you should have at least the manual procedure there or double check. There will be an additional person to verify that issues. Okay. So risk management tool, I think we saw some of these are yesterday we have done. Fault tree analysis, failure mode effective analysis, hazard analysis and critical control points, hazard operability analysis, failure mode effect and critical or cost analysis, preliminary hazard analysis. Okay, so ISP is having some assessment method for good engineering practice, commissioning and qualification. That is the tool we can use it. Of course, Gmp 5, a good automation practice, automation manufacturing practice, version 5 will support in the risk management tools. Yesterday we saw about this fault tree analysis. Just I'm quickly giving a brush up on this event. If any undesired event, for example, here they gave it fire breaks out. What is the reason for the fire breakout? Okay, leakage of flammable liquid may be the reason. Ignition source is near to the fluid. Okay, why it is near to the fluid? Spark exists, employee is smoking. So that is a problem. Employee should not smoke inside the organization, right? So usually all the companies will have all this safety requirement. There is no any place to smoke inside the organization. But many foreign countries will have a smoking room separately, that too out of the premises. But still that is questionable from the inspector to have that kind of such facility. So always they go out for the smoking process. But of course, smoking is injurious to health. That everyone knows about that. So this is again a FTA for the bulb fails. Okay, there is a bulb which fails. So there is multiple option. I think if you can't able to see, just give you a minute, a second. Let me make you to visible. Yes, now it's better. So bulb fails, no electricity, no problem. Glass broken, okay. Filament broken, vacuum leak, fine. So no electricity, power plant fails or power line fails or connector corroded. This may be the cause. Power line fails, wind breaks line, okay, or a tree breaks line. So there is a fall of tree on that, or maybe any storm which disconnect the power. So this is the cause for the bulb fail. So it can be easily mapped up. Okay, glass broken. Of course, you have to go for a change of the bulb. That's it. Filament broken, impurities, vibration. That may be the cause for the filament broken, and vacuum leak. That's it. You have to throw the bulb. That's it. So this is the very simple way of identifying the fault tree analysis. So this may not be suitable for many cases, but for electrical or mechanical cases, something we can do with this. Always, as I mentioned yesterday, 5Y concept. And what is the next concept? Can you able to someone chat? What is the next concept we will use frequently in the risk assessment? Okay. So is there any comments? Please share your comments. What is the next topic we saw in the what is that called, investigation, which will be suited in the business, suit in the pharma industry? Very good. Fishbone diagram, rightly said. And I think I have to mention one more point about fishbone diagram. It is also called as a Ishikawa diagram. Okay, Ishikawa is nothing but fishbone diagram in the Japanese word Ishikawa. Okay, so 5G mostly not in the industry, pharma industry, but please pay attention. That is fishbone diagram and 5Y concept. Yes, exactly. 5Y and 1H will be usually used in the pharma industry. FTA is also sometimes used, but not, I can say, not more than 20% or 10% even in the industries will not use this FTA. Okay, FTA and FMEA. Thanks, guys. So, FMEA in failure mode identification. What could go wrong and its effect? Probability of occurrence and severity of failure can be identified. Most tools were developed for non-pharma industries. As I mentioned, most of these tools are developed for non-pharma industries. Of course, this is a risk identification methodologies, assessment methodologies, right? So, modification may be required to suit our pharma business. Most do not address qualification and validation requirements. So, FMECA identifies potential failure modes in a system, facility, process, and product. Prioritize the failure modes in accordance with their risk. Put control in place to address most serious concerns. Okay, this is another methodology which will support you for the process, product, everything, but not much used in the industry. And similarly, HACCP. This is also not much used in the pharma side or technical side, but okay, so there is a question. What is the difference between FTA and fishbone diagram, right? So fishbone diagram yesterday we saw with 5M. Can anyone repeat the 5M here in the chat box? So everything is having a sequence or methodology, okay? So fishbone, which is coming with the 6 bones, the cause and effect diagram, hope you know that, cause and effect, right? Cause on the right and the effect on the left, we saw with the Titanic example. So that is cause and effect diagram, okay? So it will be easy for you to put the problem at one place and the consequence at the other place. Okay, that is the basic way the industry, pharma industry work with, because you have the six lanes or lines or bones of the fish. For example, what are the 6 M's? What is the first M stands for? This, guys, are you there? I hope no one is sleeping. First M, anything you can put for the first M. Don't worry on the sequence. Very nice. Men, measure, milieu, material, methods, and mission. Wonderful. So this is the bone. Okay, this should be considered as a bone. So it is easy for everyone to understand what can go wrong in the men's side. Okay, men in the sense human. Okay, what are all the possibilities will give a problem? Training, whether he is qualified, whether he is done properly, followed the SOPs, all these comes into the picture. Okay, so fishbone will be a collective scenario. There are multiple dimensions are there in the fishbone diagram. Yes, very nice. But when you're coming to the FTA, it is FTA is only with yes, no, pass, fail, something like that. Okay, so for example, you have taken a example of here the bulb phase, right? This is the example. So here we are not checking on the quality of the bulb, right? We are not checking the quality, whether the supplier is good. We are not checked here. We don't know about the supplier's performance. The supplier is performing a poor quality. That is not feasible to identify from the FTA. Okay, so there is a limitation for each methodologies. So in such way, pharma people are very much, acceptable and convinced by the inspector as well by moving forward with the fishbone diagram. So because it covers all the process, material, method, mission, milieu, the mother's nature, everything is getting covered. Even the measurement, I think measurement, yes, someone has given. So all these plays a vital role in the pharmaceutical industry. That's the reason that is accepted. Okay, now coming to the HACCP. You might have heard about this HACCP certification or something like that in many industries. It's mostly applicable for the food and food industry as well as meat industry, or where other industries are involved. Not much with the pharma industry, but still, this is the scope is there for within the industry, pharmaceutical industry, for to follow this kind of methodology as well. The next is about the hazardous and their preventive measures to be identified. Critical control points are to be devised, uses as a critical process parameter for us. So limits and monitoring methods to be established, corrective action to be predetermined for deviations, CCPs are verified, record keeping requirements to be defined. So if you see this flow of a very high level, we're discussing here about the HACCP, but again, it does not think about the other M's. This is only talking about the mission related M's or measurement related M, not about the methods, not about the men. Okay, so every analytical tool has its own limitation. Now, probability of occurrence. Okay, probability. This means the failure mode. How frequent you have the failure, that much frequent you will be getting the risk, high risk. So how much risk, how much probability of getting damage is less, that much the success of the product quality and risk is low. So frequent, if it is very likely to occur more than 20%, okay, so it means out of 100%, 20% is getting repeated, which means when I run a filling machine, okay, the stoppering should happen for all the vials. For every 100 vials, if my stoppering is not happening properly, stoppering means that rubber stopper, okay, the vial, glass vial is there in the filling machine and the rubber stopper is not getting closed, for every 100 vial, 20 vials are not getting closed, then it is called frequency is very high, because the intended use of the machine is to 100% deliver the required, information, required deliverable. So what is the deliverable? When my vial comes after filling, immediately that should be stoppered. But it is a mechanical process. There may be some way, there may be some kind of stucking of the rubber stopper or getting delayed sequence. Something can go wrong. Okay, this is the synchronization of the machine, right? So this will be developed during the setting process, assembly process, or before validation process. So once you establish and validate, this 20% should not occur. Okay, of course, you will be changing the spare parts. You remove, open, fix, everything you will do. If that is not giving a well within the control limit, then your fitting is wrong. So you have to educate about the fitting process. If anything goes wrong, multiple times failure is happening. So this is all covered in the assembly part. Okay, so now frequency, if it is something happened beyond 20 times, okay, this is a rough example, don't take the word as such 20 times. Okay, so 20 times is a frequent and 5 to 20% is a probable. Occasional, which is like 1 in 10 times or something like that, or 5% is infrequent or occasional. Very remote chance is like less than 0.1%. When everything is fully automated, fully sensor controlled. For example, if I have a sensor to identify all the vials which is coming out of this conveyor without rubber stopper should be removed. There will be a sensor to do the job. The sensor will identify that yes, the vial is coming without the rubber stopper. Then that will push to the rejection bin. Then definitely you won't get that process in the next steps, right? So that is the control. This is the automation control. So then your occurrence of this chance of vials without rubber stopper in place of sensors will be highly remote chance. Okay, that is the expectation here. So as much as you go for automation, you will be getting your control in hand. So severity, criticality, okay, critical, major, minor, very significant non-compliance with GMP or patient injury. Same, deviation from the regulatory requirement, deviation from the GMP, patient risk, patient dead, everything is critical. Okay, if let take a consideration, if you supply a medicine and suddenly 100 people died because of this medicine, it's a very serious issue. Immediately they'll put you behind the jail, and then only they start the investigation. Okay, if suppose there is a mild headache or something is going after this, okay, immediately they will stop the supply and get back the products. Okay, so these are all different kinds of severities in place. Major, significant non-compliance with the GMP and patient impact. So that is also sometimes is a major, because impact means is a less side effect. Injury means something is going bad in the patient. Maybe after injection, they may lose their nervous system, or they become blind. These are all very serious issues, right? So these are critical. Minor infringement of the GMP is minor. No expected patient impact. If there is no any impact, okay, then the severity is less. So I think yesterday also you saw this kind of box with the matrix. So you can see critical. I'm coming from the red zone to yellow zone and green zone. Critical, major, minor. And here you can see frequent, probable, occasional, remote. So the system is high, more critical, very frequent, it's very intolerable. Okay, so major, frequent, still intolerable. Critical, probable, still intolerable. Okay, so this is the zone we have to take the very cautious steps. Okay, and here unacceptable. So all these unacceptable. So you should have an automated control system in the intolerable region, and automated as well. Manual system can be supported for the unacceptable region, and no need of any control on the acceptable region. So the risk is identified where to be focused. Always focus on the red and yellow zone. It means it's intolerable. I think we discussed about this. Amber color, which is a yellow color, is unacceptable. Green, okay, you can go with the you can live with that risk. That is the risk acceptable. Detection. So high detection, low detection, medium detection, no detection. Okay. Likelihood. Okay, high likelihood that controls will detect the failure mode. So you have an automated system that can easily detect. So your detection rate is very high. Your system is in control. Medium. Okay, so it's you're losing some detection limit, which means you're leaving some 80%, 20% of the fault vials can go to the market. Detection is still low. You're leaving around 50 or more than 50% to go into the market. Okay, no detection, then you will be losing the control, and all failures will go to the market. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, now risk management initiatives. So these are the various guidelines talks about the risk management. So there is a FDA launch as there in 21st century GMP initiative in 2002 and 2003. This ICH GMP workshop has been done for managing the risk management process. Q8, Q9, Q10 talks about the pharmaceutical development, risk management, and quality management, which has been released in 2003 to 2004, and FDA announcement on implementation in September 2004. So these are all the guidelines available how to handle the risk. And now this is the ICH Q9, very detailed about the quality risk management. So the scope, principles are there, general risk management process is there, management methodology is there, and integration of QRM into industry regulatories, and there are some appendix. Yes. So the introduction, again, we'll see about the risk management, quality risk management, harm, severity, product life cycle, quality. Okay, so I'm just going to that. Hope you know potential harm to the patient is the risk, and whatever we saw in the same previous slide. Quality risk management process should be commensurate with the level of risk. And this is very important. You can find this flow diagram in the Q9. There is a guideline available in the market. Q9. Okay, this is very simple to understand. I can share you something for easy reference. The complete process is a risk management process. Okay, quality risk management or whatever you can tell. We talk about risk assessment, right? We discussed on the risk assessment. Under risk assessment, you should have a risk identification, risk analysis, and risk evaluation. Please pay attention here, guys. This is a very important topic. Not only in the pharma industry, it can be applied anywhere. Okay. So risk assessment is having 3 subpoints. Risk assessment is having 3 subpoints: risk identification, risk analysis, risk evaluation. Okay, that's it. Your risk assessment process is completed. Before that, you're initiating the risk management process, right? The red zone, red start box is given. That is a risk management process. The very first step is the risk assessment. So risk identification, risk analysis, risk evaluation. That 3 subsets are called as a risk assessment. Now, risk control. So in the risk control, there is a risk reduction and risk acceptance. Okay, that 2 are called as a risk control. And then risk communication. Risk communication and output result to the risk management process. So that is something like you are reducing the risk and communicating to the system back. You are giving back the solution for the risk. Okay, that is the risk communication. And once the risk is communicated, you are reviewing the risk, which means whether the risk, present risk, existing risk is accepted and any review events are there. So that comes under the risk review process. If the residual risk, we call it as a residual risk, which means some new risk is coming based on your implementation. You implemented some good solution. Okay, necessarily that your main problem will be solved, but there will be a new problem will be arise because of the intervention of the new system. Okay, so there is a lot of example for that. If anything you implement, you will be getting a additional new issue. Let's take the same example. Yesterday, what we saw about that push button top and below for the adjustment of the temperature. Then we find a good solution to replace with the PLC. PLC is coming now. So PLC will be having its own risk. Okay, for example, the storage capacity will be in a problem. Okay, now I adjusted the storage capacity. Now the data collection will be the problem because that's the electronic data. You have to pull the data from that zone to other zone. So this will be adding some more, problems as well as some risk. But our main risk has been solved. But we have to work on this new implementation and associated new risk coming from this new implementation. So that is the place we will evaluate the risk review. And then it goes back to the risk assessment if anything comes. Okay, so this is the very simple process. Yeah, so risk management tools can be used for addressing all these issues. So we all know about all these. Fta is there, Fmea, all these is a simple, same repeated one. Companies can choose whether to use formal risk management. Of course, they have to do the risk management process. It is mandatory. So quality risk management is likely to become best practice over time because you should reduce the risk. So quality risk management will support. Many companies I saw in my experience, they have a good quality risk management procedure, but they never implement it. They will show, yes, we have the procedure, but you ask for the document. Okay, please show me the risk management for water system. Please show me the risk management for HVAC system. filling machine. They will be having the data, but it won't be adequate. So this is the current industrial lacuna, that people are having the management process, risk management process, but they are not well versed in identifying the risk. That is the problem. You have to strive first, then only you can be successful. Without starting your knowledge to implement in that area, it is not at all possible to reach to the best solution in that particular area. First dive, and then you can swim a lot later. Yeah, then the conclusion: QRM provides a useful process that enables both industry and regulatory. Of course, that is a good tool. QRM is very, very mandatory for the industry. All expect that it will be giving a good, improvement for the companies. So that is a conclusion from the Q9 requirement. If there is no documented risk management or risk assessment, the system is classified as high risk. It's very, very important. As I mentioned now, you can have the procedure, but you should have a risk assessment document. So the document should be numbered. So when I tell document, please think about all the good documentation practices. There should be a number, page number, reviewed by, checked by, approved by. All required, basic elements of the GDP should be applied there. And this is the one which we saw the same. So risk assessment, risk control, and then qualification and validation to be done. Because we told that, right, in the qualification and validation, you should have a risk assessment topic, risk analysis detail, or any form of word with the risk associated with that particular equipment. Health risk, safety risk, product risk, patient risk, operator risk, and any other risk you want to identify from that, you can name it. These are all the risks. Okay, so this is the expectation. So this is a case study. Of course, while doing our exercise, we have done a lot of case studies, so a lot of examples. So design of a facility, for example, cross-contamination should be avoided, minimizing the risk of contamination caused by recirculation or re-entry of untreated or insufficiently treated air. So when you're designing the facility, okay, when you're setting up a facility, there should not be any cross-contamination, which means you have a different site, okay, penicillin site, cephalosporin site. Penicillin and cephalosporin molecules should not be done at the same position, same location, because both there are many people will get sensitivity to the penicillin drug. They will get allergic to the penicillin drug. That is the reason it should not combine with the common product, so they need a dedicated site. Okay, cephalosporin is antibiotic that should not get mixed up with the general medicine, because if you simply keep on taking antibiotic, you will get resistant to the organism. Excuse me. Yes, so that's the reason cross-contamination is very important. Risk assessment play a vital role in this kind of assessment. Okay, if air is recirculated, appropriate measures should be taken to control risk of contamination and cross-contamination. If you recirculate the air, okay, always you have to recirculate the air with the combination of fresh air 10%, because every time you take fresh air for the usage, it will be full of contamination. When you have the processed air, that is less contamination compared to the external air. So that's why people go with the recircled air, which means that it's clean air you're taking back and once again freshly cleaning and circulating. That is recirculation. Okay, so in this case, your risk assessment should capture all the risk associated with the process. Okay, how you have to recircle. The tamper position should be kept open at 20%, and sometimes you have to mention that during fumigation everything should be closed, new air should not come. All these are the risk assessment. You have to define and provide the evidences. So change control, so I don't want to touch, because we know that whenever there is a change control, there should be a risk assessment also before doing any changes. Hope today we discussed on that part also. Any change control before implementing a change, definitely there should be a data on the risk assessment. What new change will going to bring me the risk. Sampling of materials, risk not specifically mentioned. Okay, of course, sampling, if any risk is associated with the sampling, you should be very careful on that. What kind of things are there? Sampling room, separate room with filtered air, pressure, temperature monitoring, balance or weighing, balance for weighing, okay, clothing and personal protective equipment. So what can go wrong in the sampling? When you're taking a sampling tools, okay, which is reusable, which is not dedicated. Sometimes what they'll do, they will write some name of the compound, paracetamol, diclofenac sodium, ceftriaxone, something like that. They will engrave in the SS scoop, which means that is dedicated with the label. Okay, so that will prevent the misuse of your what is this called? Accessories, sample accessories, right? So this is the risk eliminating process. Okay, how best you are labeling, maintaining the control. These are also a piece of activity to support the risk elimination. Okay, sampling kit, cleaning and storing. Okay, so there will be a sampling kit also. For example, if you are weighing some hydrochloric acid, you want to take around 500 ml of hydrochloric acid. If there is a 500 ml bottle, easily we can give it. Now you have a 1000 ml bottle. You want to take 500 ml of what is this called hydrochloric acid. Then you are going to weigh or measure it with the cylindrical flask. Okay, measuring cylinder. Then you are taking the flask, everything without a glove. You are doing, then it's a risk. So the safety risk is wear gloves, proper gloves during the sampling or dispensing. Okay, now you don't wear any coat or any shoes. You are using a slipper. There may be a chance it may spill on your leg. So the next is wear proper protective equipment. PPE is nothing but protective personal equipment. So wear it. So this is the risk elimination methodologies. Okay, this is associated with the safety. Okay, now I have a plastic container. I want to sample or dispense the hydrochloric acid of 1 normal or 10 normal, which is a very concentrated hydrochloric acid. Whether I can able to take in a plastic container? No. It should be in a glass or diluted form, whichever is suitable you have to take it. Whether you have to wear a nose mask or 3M mask or whatever may be, because there may be chance of fume generation. So all these are the risk. Okay, so accordingly you have to fix the risk to the, always consider when you talk about the risk, product safety is important. There should not be risk to the product and risk to the person and risk to the environment and risk to the equipment. So this is the scenario you should understand. When there is some issue, what are all the associated risks? Include the product as well as the person also in the risk, because product should be safety because of the business purpose. You should also be safety because of the safety purpose, human safety purpose. Machineries for the business purpose, because if anything goes damaged, obviously you have to be get a new machinery, and it will time delay, cost effective, everything come into picture. This is some other kind of an example, and now you can see something. What is the risk in this picture? Be alert in your chat box. What is the risk in this picture? If not, let's be alert in the chat box. I'll just move the next picture so that you can understand. So what is the scenario here? There is a flood, and some vehicle, we can say a kind of a forklifter or something like that, okay, who lifts the fallen items from the pond or maybe from the lake or whatever maybe. Okay, so the vehicle has come there. Now then other side of the picture you can see. Okay, so some vehicles have been fallen inside or getting drowned. They got a No barrier around the drug. Wonderful. That's a good identification of the risk. Yeah. So now they are trying to pull out the car from the lake. Okay. They tied up with the all the belt and other stuffs, everything. They try to pull it with the lifter. So they done their job, better success. But can you able to see the difference of the vehicle which is lifting? No barrier around. Yeah. Perfect. So can you able to see the situation of the lifting vehicle? Okay, so now I think you can see the what is the scenario happened. Okay, so the vehicle came to lift the drowning vehicle, but unfortunately not tightly bind the material. Yeah, of course, that can be the situation, or it cannot. Sorry, guys, we are back here. Just give me a minute. I'm just sharing the screen. So I hope all of you there, right? Just a minute. Perfect. So I think now you can able to see the screen again. There was some short. Yeah, now I got a resume my internet connection. It is again a risk, right? So I'm having my mobile connection and I have a hotspot. Even two or three options are there, but still it get disconnected. So there is something beyond the technology. There will be always some kind of risk always associated. Perfect. The importance is how best we are resuming back to the situation. That is the purpose of getting this mitigating the risk. Okay, getting settled with the risk as well. Is it? Could you able to? Could you see my screen, guys? Anyone can message that you can able to see my screen. Okay, perfect. Thank you. because I'm just seeing with the other screen, but it is not still popping up. Thanks, team. Yeah, got it. Let's go for the discussion back. So now the situation here is something like the capability of that instrument brought the equipment, or the truck with the lifter brought for the purpose was not solved the situation. So unfortunately, they landed with the other risk of getting fall with the one which came to rescue that vehicle is also been getting drowned. So obviously, it is very important for us to select. Just a minute. Yeah. So obviously, it is very important for us to select the right equipment for the right activity. Okay, this is the risk associated with this kind of situation. So always be prepared to establish a right activity. So there is another one vehicle came to lift both the vehicles. So this is the situation. So, and you can see the distance where the vehicle stand. Okay, this is the distance where it was been standing. So it is in a very safer side, and all the protections have been made for that. And you can see that right here they have some barricades with the wire and other stuffs and all, they made it. Okay, so this is the place you can see here. So there is no any protections kept here, but the other picture shows about the control in the situation. So any company, it may be a oil and gas, or maybe a petroleum, or maybe a healthcare, or maybe automobile, safety is very important. So the people will have their own safety team as well. Okay, so that is very important. Now they done the success. They removed that, lifted that vehicle properly with a, super special vehicle for that purpose. And this is something like an example for you to show that the first number is item, function, vendor evaluation, potential failure. Okay, overseas vendor being approved on basis of vendor qualification document. Okay, so which means we can't able to sometimes go and audit them, but usually critical components you are buying from any part of India, sorry, any part of the world, still you have to go and confirm that quality. Okay, if you can't able to go, that is the reason they use third-party consultant like us for doing that job. Okay, because they'll be busy with their own job, so they ask us to support for this kind of expertise activities, because since we are the expert in quality audits or something, they ask us to go and do this job for them. So this is like a third-party audits. Okay, so what is the potential effect of failure? So when we have a vendor evaluation which has not been done because it's overseas, existence of GMP gaps issues will not be known, since physical audit is not carried out. When you're doing a physical audit, you come to know many wrong situations, or you can highlight the situation. And now, because of this pandemic situation, most of them are doing a virtual audit, where you can't able to see the evidences by your eyes. You can't visit the place. Everything through a photograph, or maybe the videograph or something like that. So that is the reason there may be a potential failure, that you may not do the assessment very thoroughly. Okay, when you're doing a physical assessment versus the virtual assessment, always there is a difference. So similarly, in your case, when you're in college on site, you'll be having a direct lectures, right? Now all through digital. So there is a plus as well as in the minus, pros and cons in all the situation. So, but we have to accept this. So now the next is feasibility of visiting oversight vendors. Okay, what is the failure? Because it's not feasible to visit. Non-availability of resource, of course they don't have a right resource to do the job. Reliability of the vendor, okay, so they can't rely the vendor also. So this is the severity is 5. You can see this S. Okay, they put severity is 5 because they are buying the critical material. If anything goes wrong, the product is paid. Occurrence, they rated as 3 because of all these limitations. Okay, detectability 1 because there is no detectability at all, because you can't do anything without anything with the solid data, right? So purchase orders are placed and specifications are forwarded. So you've given all the controls to them. Purchase order you have given, this is the specification, I want a product in this specification, you gave it, but it is not reliable until you witness their quality system. All incoming materials are tested as per approved specification. Okay, they can give a confidence that this is the control. Okay, they will be supplying all the material with the approved specification. API suppliers are approved based on the certification on the competing authorities. So, for example, the supplier has been qualified by local FDA or US FDA. That gives some confidence. That is the current control we have. Okay, the product can come from them. Then you can evaluate, is there any recalls from your side? They tell no. Okay, then you are safe. Any complaints in your side? They say no. Okay, then safe. So this is the trend. We check about the performance of the quality. For example, if you want to buy any mobile phone, what comes in your mind first? Okay, so you choose the best one. Of course, it is price is high. That is a secondary discussion. But you don't want to worry about, I have to go to a site and I have to check all these whether they are doing it right. Nothing is required. So you rely on the trust on that quality, right? Trust on the product quality. So that is important. So that is the key success of any business. Okay, recommended actions. SOP shall be updated to audit overseas raw material, key starting material, vendor based on the impact on product quality. So based on the impact on the product quality, your SOP should be modified accordingly. Okay, or organize audit third-party audits. So you can organize your own audits or through the third party. So this is a very, very basic example, but you can do this kind of exercise anywhere, and you can try the best for yourself. Okay, so here I think we have done with the quality risk management. Okay, so this is the, I think if you want, we can have a 5 minutes break. Sharp 16:36 will be back. Okay, the reason is we have 2 chapters left and we have 1.5 hours left. Okay, 2 chapters, 1 hour 30 minutes left for us. That is manageable with us. So we'll take a 5 minutes break and come back. Please be in the line, don't get disconnected. So we'll be talking to you in 5 minutes. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, welcome back, guys. Let's start the next session. So this is very interesting. Of course, topic is interesting, but the situation is not interesting for the company, right? So how to handle the complaint? Okay, customer complaints. So anyone who is complaining about the product quality. Okay, for example, if you go and see, not only for the medicinal products, it can be for the any type of products, consumable products or anything. So once you see the pack, right, the packet, there will be a contact details or call for any complaints or any queries. They will give you some number, right? So usually the complaint will come in such way, okay, that you can write a mail, you can immediately give a call, or you can send through any source of your channel. That is, you can give back the product to the dispensary or medical pharmacy shop, and you can claim that this is a complaint. So then it will go from there to the proper channel to reach to the site. Okay, so this is the way where the complaint can be registered. So overview, what we are going to see, the guidelines, what is the thing, definitions, GMP requirements, handling of the procedure of complaint investigation. Of course, the word investigation is very similar to our yesterday's investigation methodology. So only the complaint is important. Investigation follows as per its own process. Remedial action and CAPA, it's very similar to the corrective action and preventive action. Report preparation, response to the customer, and verification of CAPA effectiveness, review complaint, and then close the complaint. So I think now you understood the process. So once the person raised the complaint, so that comes in a different methodology, either by phone call, mail, email communication, or any kind of now social networks are very familiar. So you can reach through that platform. So at any cost, you are trying to reach to the source where the product is originated. There is some reference number, then you can give a call to that number as well. So everything will be recorded. So for the recording purpose, they obviously need a documentation. So like how I shown about this change control form, they'll be having a complaint form. If you want to see the complaint form, please Google and check for the complaint form. You can see n variety of complaint forms. Okay, but the basic variety is you should record the who has raised the complaint. If you have the name, address, all the which, what, when, how, when, where, everything. If you have, define it in the complaint phase. What is the product? What is the batch number? What is the photographs? If you have, for example, if they tell there is a particle inside, do you receive any photograph? Okay, you can see in many WhatsApp and all, right? So there will be Coca-Cola, but where something will be there inside, which is a closed one. Maybe that may be done for the purpose of getting viral the video, but still there are many situations people will be having such kind of market complaints available. Okay, so anytime if you have a market complaint, as a person you purchase that product, you have a full rights to raise the complaint. So what the guideline says about that? So 21 CFR 211.198 is very important. This clauses everything. Not to keep it by heart, because this is available in the free of cost in the internet. So anytime if you have to verify, even if you are working in the organization, so it's not to get by heart on these topics. Just go and check in the respective guidelines section. That's it. Investigation according to 21 CFR 211.192, production record review and record report shall be available. So when you have a complaint, the first document to be kept for review is the production record. What went wrong? What are the documents is there to review? Maybe the deviation. There may be an analytical record where you will be having some OOS or any particles. You have to correlate with the situation of the complaint. For example, the complaint is related to black particle in the vial. Okay, which means you can see the black particle inside the powder. So then you're taking a clipping and sharing to the company. Yes, I saw this thing. I didn't open, but this is the inside. What is the wrong in the material. Then once they received all this data, there will be a team inside, like how change control committee is there. Similarly, this customer complaint committee will be formed. The group of experts brainstorming will be done. Then they will try to identify where that similar product can come. Okay, so they will do all the brainstorming sessions, how that black particle comes. What is the activity which we are doing with the black compound, or is there any material which is in the black? Let's take an example. There is a black cover, okay, inside the for any transfer of material you are using some black pouch or whatever maybe, and that will be used to cut and remove the anything which has been kept in a closed form. You are cutting that and opening, then maybe that particular piece may fall into the vial. So these are all the brainstorming sessions. What kind of black material we are using in the product line, product contact part. So everything we have to analyze. Okay, that is the brainstorming section. Now, once you've done this brainstorming session, meanwhile, we have to request for the sample to come to your premises. For example, this is any product which is in you're shipping from here to US, okay, and from US hospital or from your US any individual patient, okay, found this and telling about the information to you. You have to record first the data in your complaint form, okay. Then you ask for the shipment of the sample. First you have to get the sample, okay. Suppose sometimes what happen, doctors will do, they in the powder without seeing all this, because of they are in hurry, they inject the water to reconstitute the powder, okay. So once they inject the water and reconstitute, okay, then also they have to check the visibility. Is there any particle or rod? See, anytime please keep in mind, when you're going for any support for anyone as a patient who is you are taking care, when the doctor is looking at this, you watch, okay, what they really do. No one will take and check the vial prior to reconstitute. No one do that, because they are in a different mindset to inject and go for the next job, right? So, but this is a special duty of everyone, that they have to take care, that to verify that is there anything wrong, okay. After mixing, okay, after reconstitution, you have to take some time to check, is there anything goes wrong in the product. Sometimes you may get some haziness in the liquid, like a viscous, or like a white particle, or black particle, or glass particle. Something may be there if the quality is not adequate, okay. So always take a 1 minute look about after reconstitution, everything is fine or not, okay, because sometimes doctor will not do that. So now after reconstitution, you identified there is a particle, black particle. Before identification, fine, well and good, you are not going to reconstitute. After reconstitution, you find it, please keep the same, because you know that there will be a top aluminum flip-off seal that is called as a flip-off seal. You are going to break that, not fully opening, only the top portion will be removed, and then you are injecting the syringe. Sometimes if your gauge of the syringe, okay, the needle thickness varies, okay, if you're pricking the rubber stopper, sometimes if the rubber stopper quality is not adequate, the piece of rubber stopper may fall inside the wire, because your rubber stopper quality is brittle. Usually the rubber stopper should be in elastic, so that if you're pricking, there should not be any particle generation. If the rubber stopper is not a good quality, or it is getting its shelf life is more than the limit, it becomes brittle, okay. Automatically what happens, if a brittle rubbers are there, it broke, right? Then that particle will shed lot of particles generated from this brittle rubber stoppers. It will be like flying like a powder, okay. So when you're pricking that, that particle also may go inside. So that is the evidence that particle was being inside the vial, okay, leave it that. Take that and send as such, after reconstitution, send back to the premises, okay, because you, until you have not opened the vial, there is no suspicion on you, okay, because once it is, the seal is open and Is it possible for you to open the rubber stopper and you can put it? That will be the scenario. Someone will think, what happens like this? As a patient, I may also do intentionally all these things, but do religiously that send back the vial with the particle, even you have reconstituted. Okay, once it reaches to the premises, the QA will receive it. QC will check for its content. They will take that and verify what really the content is. So this is the investigational sample. Okay, this is a product which has been manufactured at your site with all the quality systems and went out for the premises and now come back with the filing of complaint. Okay, so this shows it shows your quality system is somewhere weak. You can't able to identify. Then you have to pull all the informations like what happened on that day for the visual inspection, how this got mixed up. Okay, at what time. That's why this all serialization process, everything is coming for the better traceability. Sometimes that is not your vial. Somewhere the spurious drug will be entered into the anti-counterfeit, which is called as counterfeit drugs, right? So counterfeit drug is something which has been mixed up in the market, which is not manufactured by you. Someone is manufacturing to get the profit. Of course, during this COVID situation, you might seen many people does that remdesivir and sold it for high cost. So these kind of spurious drugs will also come into market with having your brand name and all your identical labeling process. Then how you will identify? Okay, usually there will be some hologram or any kind of coding reference to identify this is not your product. That is the technique of anti-counterfeiting program. Okay, something like seal. When you are supplying a API, okay, the bulk, I'm talking about when you're supplying the bulk, what they will do, they will be having a random number clip, okay, as a security lock. So that clip will be having that number. If that anyone broke that clip, you can't make it the same clip back. Okay, so if anything, if the very first time, if you receive any problem, they will ask for that security lock. They will check what is the number in the security lock we sent. If they tell like a 6-digit number, okay, and if your the 6-digit number matches, then that is your product, because you have a track of that number in your system. For example, if any company wants to mimic your product, they are counterfeiting your product, they will do that product, but they can't have the same number, right? So in that case, they generate some other duplicate numbers to make a product in the market. Then when the purchasing person identify that number, usually they won't have all these security locks when the spurious drugs are coming into the market. That is the first identification, that you don't have the security system. Then it's the first level of identification that product is not coming from your market. But now it is identical, so that is a verification step. You are recording that yes, this product which is having this title or name or tag with this number is belongs to our premises. Okay, that is the inclusion of the data. So these are the other guidelines investigating according to this 21 CFR 211-192 field alert report. Okay, which means the complaint you received, you are going to alert the public. Okay, if it is critical. Okay, if it is critical, you have to alert the public. You don't want to get panic for all the complaints. There may be some silly complaints as well. So correction, I think we already discussed about what is correction, what is corrective action, what is preventive action. So everyone knows about this. Confirming everything is fulfilling the requirement of the intended specification. That is called conformance. Non-conforming, not meeting the limit. That is non-conformance. Non-conformity, the non-fulfillment of the specific product or requirement. Complaint, consumer reporting on the product or service due to non-conforming of product or process or service. It may be related to quality, packing, document, service, etc. Anything. For example, the pack may be having 500 mg, but inside it may be 250 mg. This is a serious issue. Okay, so these are all the evidences. The pack label may be giving some wrong information. Okay, all these are basic examples for customer complaints. So FDA talks about the field alert report. Any incident that causes the drug product or its labeling to be mistaken for applied to another article. That article means another drug product here. Okay, or bacterial contamination, which is very risk, a significant chemical, physical, or other change. There may be some, suddenly if you're mixing with some water, the yellow powder will turn to black or red, something abnormal. Okay, that is the other change. Deterioration in the distributed drug product. Sometimes during the transportation, the drug product was not maintained properly, or very high exposure to the heat or anything. If you try to mix that, then you can feel that the product is become like a precipitation. Okay, usually anything should not get precipitated when you're injecting into the body, right? So when you see something get precipitated, and it's very easy to identify that this is abnormal medicine product. Okay, visually, or any form of precipitation or whatever maybe comes into the picture. Okay, deterioration, that is called deterioration of the distributed drug product, and failure of one or more distributed batches of the drug product to meet the intended specification. Okay, so in that case you have to raise the alert, FDA report alert. Purpose of complaint handling, of course, the first and very important is the patient safety. If one person has been giving this information, you have to take care all the other hundreds of batches you have taken. Maybe in that particular batch, you made a 1 lakh vial. So all this 1 lakh vial will be in a question for you. What is the quality of that? To maintain CGMP, of course, good manufacturing practices involved. So you should handle the complaint very religiously, properly, and you have to be responsible for your client or your buyer who has bought your product. To maintain relationship with the customer, of course, the customer is very important. That's why yesterday Johnson & Johnson released this notification, because they care for the customer. Okay, that is important. It is reputation of the company, of course, reputation of any company, so that they have to maintain that. That is always good to voluntarily tell there is a problem in the product, please hold on. This is a kind of negative way to promote yourself. Okay, to be popular in the industrial arena, that yes, there is a company who takes care about the patient safety, forgetting about the profit. It is an opportunity to improve the quality of the product. Of course, any compliance comes with a proposal to how to improve best, to improve the business growth as well. So taken a positive way, the compliance should be handled in a proper way. Procedures shall be established and followed for handling of all written and oral complaints. As I told, written complaints through email, oral complaints through telephonic call. Any complaint involving the possible failure of a drug product to meet any of its specification need for an investigation. So in simple language, anything not meets the intended specification, go for a proper investigation, where that based on the problem. Okay, if I have a glass particle, I should not go and check my QC testing, because there is no problem with my QC testing, right? That is a secondary problem. I have to double check whether the product is meeting the specification. But the real problem, what we arise is, there is a glass particle. Where the glass particle will come? It is not definitely not from the QC area, because QC is only meant for testing. It will definitely not from the product, warehouse, because warehouse is dispensing the product. Where it can come? Any suggestions? You find a glass particle in the vial. Okay, just take your chat box and give an example where that glass particles may come. Good. Someone is during manufacturing. Wonderful. Of course, can you be very specific in which part of the manufacturing? There is a cleaning of vial, washing of vials, sterilization of vials, filling of vials. Okay, I think there should be a process flow is there, where your vial is coming from, not from your end. Sometimes supplier will give you the vial, that is an incoming material. So what is the first chance of probability? Where can be the, of course, the possibility is there in manufacturing, that is true, but while packaging, some other vials may have broken. Yes, it can be start from the supplier end as well. So once your supplier is giving the vial, okay, if he is not properly cleaning and packing, there is a chance. Next chance, you think the sequence from the vial which is coming from the supplier. So now I told the first step is as the supplier is manufacturing your vials and he is cleaning and packing. Okay, the vials will come in a shrink pack, maybe like 20-30 vials will be kept in a box and that will be packed. Then what is the next step? What will be the next step in the general process? How the vial is moving from your supplier end to your company, how it is moving through the transportation, shipment. Is there any possibility that during the shipment of shaking of the vial or overloading of the vial, exactly, during the transportation, there is always the possibility that it can get impact or get stressed, overloaded, not during the transport. If not, there will be a piling up of the vials. Got it? So when they pile up the vials during the transportation, that may be a scenario. One vial may got broken. Okay, so these are the scenarios. Okay, now what is the next step? You inverted, you are keeping. Okay, you are going to test the packing material. You are not going to do the 100% check, I am sure. So you are taking some random sample and checking that no safe package. Yes, packaging is not adequate, which is not holding the load of the piled up weight of the vial. That's one of the good reasons. Next, now the packaging you are testing, the pack has been taken with some samples, you testing it. Maybe whenever you take test, if there is a more damage, more occurrence, there is always a possibility that you will find it, right? If there is a less occurrence, your concept of risk assessment should apply here. Severity is high because the glass particle, if it goes to the body, you will get killed, okay, injured. That's it. If it enters the bloodstream, that's all. Then the next is your occurrence. If occurrence is more, then detectability is less here. Okay, which means the weight may be giving more weight to all the product and get damaged, and your testing is there, sampling and testing is there. If there is a more breakage, obviously in your 10 sampling, you will be getting one failure, right? Then you have to discard the lot. Do additional sampling and discard the lot. That's the process. Okay, now take an example, there is a less occurrence. There is a less occurrence. In your QC testing, you didn't find that kind of abnormalities. Now, it goes to warehouse because in warehouse, you are keeping, QC is approving the material because they didn't find any abnormalities. Passed. The product is passed, means the vials are passed. Now, the batch is going to start. There is a dispensing process. Today, I have 10,000 batch size. I will be given 10,500 vials because always they will be giving some additional vials to manage the settings, assemblies, everything will happen, right? So that they will be giving some vials. So let's take 1,000 vials are given addition. So 10,000 vials are there. Now it goes to the washing because any vials which comes for the sterile process should be washed and then we call it as a tunnel sterilization. It's a dry heat sterilization. Okay. So during the washing, there will be a visual inspection to be done by the person. If he has not done the right job, he can't remove this wire. Okay. Okay. Now there is a scenario that when you're loading the vials, please follow me because this is a sequence of steps I'm telling. Okay. Please come with me so that it is easy for you to understand. So now, when you're loading the vial for the cleaning process, there will be always a conveyor belt. If there is an overload in the conveyor belt, that will jam the vial and it can break the vial also. Okay, this is I am talking before washing. Okay, so now I have the next step as a washing. Obviously, washing should remove any particles. It is a heavy particle or very light particle or any black particle, whatever may be. So, if anything present in the supplier side or anything broken before washing and it got fall inside the vial, definitely that should be washed during the washing process. Washing process is nothing but there will be series of first wash, second wash, third wash. In between the wash, there will be a compressed air spray to make it wet as well. Sorry, to make it dry as well. The wet vial will be dried in between every process. So this is a rigorous cleaning process, okay? And you know the pressure applied for cleaning will definitely push the particle. And during cleaning, the vial will be upside down. So there is always a chance when you give a pressure to the upside down vials that keeps washing the any sticking particles, even the what is it called, glass particles which was sticking in the vial from the supplier end as well. Okay, with this pressure it should clean. That will be proved in the validation. Okay, so now that is the process I can assure. Yes, even the vials coming from the third party, the supplier, my cleaning process is effective to remove that. Then how the vial is having this broken piece. Now, what is the next step? After cleaning, we have to sterilize the vial. So sterilization takes place in 250 degree again. Okay, not like our autoclave. This is called as a laboratory oven we use, right, for drying the glassware and all. So the similar methodology, but here the drying will be at 250 degree. Okay, the sorry 350 degree. 325 plus or minus 25 degree will be kept because you can't wait that vial will be doing the sterilization for 60 minutes or something like that. This is something like a flash sterilization, which means the vial will start moving from one end to the other end. In that movement, from the start end to the reach to the end of this tunnel, it will be taking minimum 3 minutes exposure time. Okay, in this 3 minutes, the wire will get exposed to 350 degree. Okay, so the same concept is applied here. The wire is upright. No, it's not in a reverse position. It is in upright. Okay, now the same concept of conveyor belt is there inside also. Now it is keep moving. The conveyor belt is keep moving inside. There is a possibility when we are stopping the machine. Filling machine sometimes may get stopped. Filling machine sometimes may get stopped because for various reasons. Suddenly I will stop for some other purpose, some maintenance will be there, some kind of testing will be there, some kind of in-process check will be there. I have to go and take the wires and give it for weight verification. So obviously I have to stop the machine. So when I am stopping the machine, when the conveyor is keep running, that will create a jam. Okay, of course, to eliminate this kind of jam, all the integrated machineries are sensor controlled. If I stop here, automatically the machine will signal to the in-feed table to stop. Okay, this is a very systematic sensor control machinery because you know that Bosch and other top companies are well expertise in this electronics, right? So everyone knows the concept. So obviously they will fit a process. Anything gets stopped, it will be sensor control. Okay, fine. Now still it gets stopped. Sometimes the sensor may not work properly. There may be a chance to get that. So now the wires are moving, you stop, sensor is stopped, no problem, there is no jam inside. Sometimes if sensor is not working properly or the wires are not been hitting the sensor, okay, so what is the purpose of the sensor? Sensor will think that if this place is overloaded, then I have to stop. But if one wire got stuck in that position, the sensor will stop. If particular where the sensor is seeing that place is empty, the sensor will not stop, right? This is a occurrence which can occur. For example, which point the sensor has been focused and that point is always empty. Okay, take an example. The vial is fallen down, so it can't able to see that particular point is filled. Okay, then machinery will not stop because the vial is fallen down. The portion is blank for the sensor. Then the jam may happen. Okay, so this is a probability. Let's keep that aside. Okay, now the vial has come to the position, getting filled and going inside. Obviously, there won't be any chance in the filling machine. If suppose the product which is filling may have glass particle, the glass particle, if it is not coming in your premises, that may come from the product filling also. Maybe you have a filling machine with a glass needle, glass dispensing needle. Okay, that glass needle might be broken and fall into the filling. If it is a powder form, your powder which has been flowing from the gravity force from top to bottom, that box who is being supplied again by your supplier or manufacturer will have this vial from their end also. Okay, so now this is the process, and then next step is filling, capping. Once it is capped, nothing is going to introduce inside. Okay, so once it is capped and sealed, that's it. There is no chance something will go inside after this process. So don't worry about the next process. Okay, that's all. We leave it here. Now we identified two places where we can get the glass particle. One is from the supplier, another is from our process. Sorry, three places. Supplier is ruled out, I believe, yeah, because the cleaning is removing the supplier side. Now, please follow with me, guys. So now there is a two options. One is that the sensor may be fallen so that it's not protecting, so there may be a chance our internal wires are broken and it has been filled. Now, there is a next option that the vial can be coming from the product flow because it will be mixed up with the product in the supplier end, manufacturer of the API. So these two is the investigation for you. Once you done this brainstorming, these 2 points will be the probable root cause. Now, how to verify whether this is from our own glass or other glass? Because obviously you have your own glass. This piece, if it is coming from this glass, it is easy for you to identify the standard glass and the complaint glass. Okay, both are having the same characteristics. Obviously, that is your own glass. If you identify your glass is different and what the marketing complaint glass is different, which is not matching with your analytical testing. Here your analytical expertise is coming. Whether you can do an NMR testing of the glass or FTA testing of the glass, whatever best solution for the investigation, you can adopt that solution and go for the testing process. So once you prove this glass is not matching with it's something like a detective agent. Okay, if that piece of glass is not matching with your routine glass used for that particular product, then you are clearly different that this is not your glass particle. Okay, then the next question comes, where it comes from then. Since it's not yours, what is the next option to come? You have to map out all these, like how we done for the Titanic, all the places, what kind of materials are there, which can contribute this kind of glass particle or black particle, whatever may be the situation. So you have to follow the Titanic investigation process. Okay, how extensive you have to do. Then you may get some answer, you may not get some answer. If you're lucky and smart and expertise, definitely you will get the root cause solution, root cause analysis. Then you can pinpoint, yes, this piece of glassware came from this place. Why? Because I'm telling the API supplier, the active substance supplier, may be using a glass reactor. Okay, then there will be some damage in the glass reactor that got mixed up. If that is not properly filtered using the filtration process, filtration in the sense the powder will be sieved. They call it as a sieving. So in the sieving, definitely these kind of particles will be removed. Sometimes if the process has not been well adequate, then sieving is having some holes. Sieving plate will have some holes. Obviously, this piece of glass particles may come, right? So then that is the worst scenario from the client also you may get. It's client in the sense your supplier. So this is the process of complaint handling. So I just gave two very critical example in the industry, maybe a glass particle or black particle. This is the way they have to identify the scenario. Okay, so just move to the next slide. Again, we are talking about the complaint files, which is related to the regulation. A written record, each complaint shall maintain at the site and readily available for inspection. Not only this record, everything should be readily available. The time for readily available is to be justifiable. It is not that 2 hours later it's readily available. There is some meaningful time. If it is in your custody, it is within 30 minutes. If it is in other building, okay, then there should be some additional 2 hours is allowed for you. But readily available is something depends upon the situation. You have to bring to the table on time, realistic time. Written records related to complaints shall be maintained at least 1 year after the expiry date. So as I mentioned that any written record complaint, whatever is there, should be at least 1 year plus the expiration date. Or they will tell 1 year after the complaint was received, whichever is longer. Usually this terminology will be. For OTC drug products, records shall be maintained for 3 years after distribution of the product, because OTC will be somewhere used once I receive the medicine, you have to be safer side to keep plus 1 year. Okay, because if they are using a expired medicine, that's their issue, but still we are responsible for them. Okay, so as someone asked right last time, so we have to be responsible for remove the expired medicine as well. Just a minute, guys. Okay, we are here. So, record shall be maintained with all the information, name of the product, strength of the drug product, record investigation conducted, findings, all related to the complaint. Okay, so complaint and recall is combining here. Of course, the next topic is recall. So, I will take together with this complaint topic. All quality related complaints should have all the data like date of complaint received, complaint nature, batch number, immediate action taken, investigation and final decision, responses from the originator, communication to the vendor, means the complainant. You have to the cycle completes once you satisfy the complaint raising person. Okay, that is the completion of the complaint cycle. So records of complaints should be retained in order to evaluate trends, because you have to keep the data safe. There should be a written procedure that identifies the circumstance under which a recall of an API item may be considered. So sometimes there is a serious complaint, you may recall the products. Okay, also is possible. So the recall procedure should designate who should be involved, evaluating the information, how a recall should be initiated. So this is again about the recall process. So once we determine this complaint is accepted from our end, okay, we have to acknowledge, yes, this is a complaint, we accept. Then only the recall process will start. Because if it is not from your premises, the complaint is not raised from your premises, you are not responsible. You can defend at any time. This complaint was not from our premises by checking the result sample, because every lot will have a result sample in your custody. You have to take the sample and you have to prove that that is not possible. Of course, it is not going to be a same replica of your sample, right? Then in that case, you have to be, verify that the particle which is coming is not belongs to us. So we are telling that this is not my originated particle, hence we are not responsible. So in that case, you don't want to raise the recall. If not, you have to raise the voluntary recall. Procedure for handling complaint, SOP for investigation, of course, the same investigation pattern should be followed. Overall quality related other complaints will be done. Okay, writing properly recorded, investigated, record the receipt of the complaint in the logbook. There should be a logbook. Acknowledge the receipt of the complaint in 24 hours. This is very, very important. Anytime you receive, within 24 hours, you have to document. Why we have given 24 hours? You may receive at the midnight because of the different time zone, but your QA will not be there. So, but tomorrow you have to get registered properly. Okay, complaint as a classification, whether it is related to product quality, packaging, documenting, labeling, mislabeling, mispackaging, whatever may be the situation. That is a category. Sorry, that is a classification. Category is something critical, major, minor, as usual. Critical or life-threatening. Okay. Even change in the strength is a critical because the difference in the strength will impact the patient. Okay, containment of the complaint batch. You have to withhold the batch for protect it by returning them. Okay, by getting back the recall. Investigation of complaint based on the complaint nature. Okay, time for investigation. You can't take long time. You have to be hurried in closing as early as possible to defend or to accept the complaint. Content of investigation report and response to customer. So you have to create a detailed investigation report and you have to submit to the customer. Even he's from the he is a layman who don't know about anything process. You are abide to do that. You have to support for them to complete the cycle of complaint raising. If complaint is not a genuine or send response with justification. Of course, as I mentioned, it is not your problem. You always have the rights to send back. This complaint is not accepted because this is not possible at our end. But it's not a first time, first way to tell. But you have to do your homework, do all the investigation process and do that. Closing a complaint, review of its effectiveness. Maintain the complaint record. So that is very important. So investigation, as we discussed many times, we have to go with all the flow of investigation. You can do that with our knowledge, like what we done, like identify the root cause, use the fishbone diagram, use the risk assessment process, impact assessment process, which are all product can be impacted with this. You may think that, for example, if you consider that this is from the API manufacturer, you got 3 lots. Okay, the same lot may have this kind of particles. Then you have to keep that 3 lot at the control not to be used. Okay, you can replace with the supplier event. So these are the control measures you have to take for the particular situation. Every situation is different, so that is the common sense we have to apply. So, for example, if it's a glass broken, I can't go and tell something different. Your testing is not adequate. So your specific is this should not happen. The glass pieces should not come in my box of so what is this called API, right? My container should not hold this because it is not an intended specification, right? Having a piece of glass inside the content API. Use your investigation tool YY, cause and effect, Fishbone, brainstorm, FMEA, and do the investigation. Do a checklist, review, verify, form the investigation team like a complaint investigation team, QA, QC, production, if required, safety, okay, environmental safety, R&D. Whoever is needed, you can pull all these guys for the discussion. Conclude the situation. Respond to the person adequately. Okay. Review of records. You have to verify all the batch manufacturing record because there should not be any deviation. You have to verify all the visual inspection record, how best they have done their job, how it is got missed. Okay. If it is understood that there is some problem happened during the investigation inspection process, that should be a next time that mistake should not happen, right? So how you are going to provide your corrective and preventive action plan. That is the important steps there. Okay, that is the outcome of all the investigation. What is the investigation? You have to find where the problem got escaped from your eyes. You have thousands of eyes inside your organization. How every eyes got escaped from this situation? That is your invigilance technique. to make robust technique for future products. Review people involved in manufacturing, sampling, and testing. Interview with them. Okay, what goes wrong? Gemba, which is like a Gemba walk, right? Inspect equipment and facility at site. So it's a walk. You have to go to the location and identify what really went wrong. Your team has to go there and see that what has happened. Any additional testing required based on the above. So you can do any authenticating testing to prove that this is from your premises or not. Of course, if it is from your premises, you have to accept, yes, we got a situation that wires were broken because my sensors are not working fine. Accordingly, we accept this and you have to give a replacement. Okay, so you have to resend to the channel to give them a free of cost one more wire for the patient who received this. Okay, so this is the ethics in the business. So the customer feedback will drive you. Yes, you are doing best in the market. Okay, extend the investigation to other batches. Very, very important. It's not only restricted with one batch. You have to go for the other batch. Other campaign means it's a set of batch. Okay, one batch means it's from morning to evening. There will be one batch. If it is a campaign means the same batch will be doing for 15 days, 30 days. Same batch they'll be doing continuously. That is called campaign. Okay. Other product materials. We can extend to other product materials as well. But have a logical application. If there is a problem in the API, you have to take all the APIs related to that product. Okay, not product A and product B you are going to check. Where the problem happens in product A, check all the product A product filling activity. So this is the way you have to make your smartness in the investigation process. Product impact and how it is to be disposed. Provide reasons for accept or reject the batch, okay, and dispose it. Justify the exclusion for other batch if required. So you can provide the exclusions why you are not discarding the other batch as well. So justify, consider toxicological evaluation if required. In case of any other issues, not the particle or any labeling issues, for any other issues, you can go with the toxicological data evaluation as well. But this is based on the situation to situation. Remedial action, correction. Okay, action to address an immediate problem. Of course, we know that remedial action is an immediate correction problem that is reprocessed, reworking, or can be taken in conjunction with the corrective action. Please be noted that in the formulation there is no rule for reprocess or reworking. Even the guidelines will give some flexibility for the reprocess. Absolutely, there is no any way for reprocess. Okay, rework. The extent is you can do a primary, secondary packing. You can't disturb the primary packing. What is primary packing? The vial, glass vial, and the rubber stopper. Primary means which is touching the product. That is the primary. Secondary means it is not touching the product. So in the packing, vial is touching the product. So it's primary. Rubber stopper is touching the product. It is primary. Flip off is integrating the vial and rubber stopper, right? So it's also considered sometimes as a primary. But carton box is a secondary. If suppose there is a mix-up, the carton box says 250 mg and your product is 100 mg. It is easily addressed. You can take back the product and you can fill it. Means you can throw the box and replace it with a 100 mg box. But why this is not identified during our execution? It should be. It must be identified during the process, right? Because that's why we have all controls, all the barcode controls, 2D controls, camera systems for identifying these all packing issues. Okay, so packing related issues are very serious. That's why many people, many companies will have a high-end model for 100% verification of the packing materials. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so this is about the complaint investigation report, which should have all the details: name, time of receipt, date of complaint received, who are all participated in this activity, nature of the complaint, contact person of the complaint, and which organization raised it, which person, doctor name, title, address, everything we have to provide for the details. Who has raised the complaint? So that person detail is mandatory. Product name, batch number, as usual. Nature of the complaint, is it's quality or packing or any other category, critical, major. Okay, if you have any photographs, you can attach. If you have any, piece of particle, right? Piece of glass particle. That also you can keep. That also you can keep inside the cover, a pouch, small self-sealing pouch, and tag it to the documentation, which means this is the particle. Anytime you want to verify that particle, that is available with you. So that is the extent of your data collection and your investigation as well as your documentation. Response to customer, definitely you have to respond to the customer on this issue. Inform to the regulatory if it is very critical and serious to the life threatening. Submit the investigation report to the customer. Whatever all your efforts, it should be noted to the customer. In the case investigation require additional time, seek an extension from the customer. You can take, we are working still, we will come back within next 15 days or whatever. That's acceptable. Complaint shall be closed based on the acceptance of the response. So there should be a closure report from the complaint raised person. Then the cycle closed. Okay, thanks, successfully it's been closed. Something like that. In case of the customer is not responding 2 to 3 weeks, send the reminder of feedback. Okay, so sometimes once you raise the complaint, you will not follow up. That's all, you leave the job, right? Because it's not our duty to close it properly. We are escalating, that's it. But it is not the duty for the owner, the manufacturer, to end it. So they have to remind for you to give the feedback. You have to give the feedback. Yes, it's been addressed, and thank you very much for the closure of this investigation. Something. If the customer is not responding, you can close the complaint from the manufacturer end. Okay, the work is done from your end. Something like that. Okay, because you successfully closed, but you're not getting the feedback. It is not your problem. For that purpose, you can't keep the complaint kept open, because you are in a position to respond in a monthly meeting why this is open. It should be kept closed, right? With a periodically time, it should be closed. You can't keep open and tell that 2 years back the complaint is still open. So there is a cutoff time. The response is not coming from the customer, close within 15 days. That's fine. Okay, compliance verification. Please, this is a Haccp process. You have to verify the same situation should not happen the next time. That is the important topic. So recall, decision on recall if complaint is serious. Okay, you can go for the recall if the complaint is serious, potentially life-threatening situation. Information to local, national, and international authorities should be informed. So you have to inform to the respective authorities. Of course, local, since your site is in India, definitely you have to tell to the local situation also. Initiate the recall as per procedure. That should be a defined procedure. Should designate who should involved in the evaluating the information. There should be a proper information to be provided that how to do the recall process. Okay. Who should be informed about the recall? To whom all you have to do the recall. How the recall material is treated. Very important. Once you get back all the failed material or recall material, what is your destruction procedure? Okay, that is the feedback. It's a recall treatment of the recall material, destruction of the recall material. Okay, so we are left with 30 minutes, and I have a last presentation for this general session about the product recall. Okay, just give me a minute. Yes, guys. Let's move to the next topic, recall. So we made this program in a systematic way. So we started with some process like we make a process to understand what the market, pharmaceutical market, and then we step closely we worked on this process like there is some. Thank you, guys. Now it will be better, right? Yeah, thanks. So now we had a proper flow of the syllabus we made it. So obviously the last part will be the companies about the product results. It should not be a situation for them. Okay, so but there may be situation you may get like yesterday speak about not some serious issues. Definitely you have to recall. Ultimately, the safety is very important rather than getting something penalized or getting life-threatening risk to the patients. So in that way, um, now product recall is a very important topic. You know what is recall? Okay, recall are the action taken by a firm to remove product from the market, which is which is um, you know uh, important because we have to clean the uh, mistaken product from the market. So that is our responsibility because our product is in the market, right? So recall may be conducted on the basis of firm's own initiative. That's your own responsibility. Okay, as a public interest, you have to release some statement in the TV channel or maybe a group or maybe a still it is existing. Now it's better. It's still there. Is it better audible now? Okay. So now let's try whether it's better for you guys. Okay. So recall can be from initiative from own side or by FDA request or any FDA order under statutory authority. Okay. Local FDA, international FDA, whoever can able to tell. So the guidance is intended to assist. More. I think it's raining outside, but it's, all the doors are closed there. I'm not sure why. How about now? I'm just changing my headphone. Is it better? Can anyone reply, please, whether now it's getting better or we need to still. So now it's better, audible. Even I could hear the buzzing sound, but not too disturbing. So, okay, let's try because it will be another 20 minutes for us to complete the session. So, sorry guys, let's try to bear with this. Okay, so now we are talking about this guidance, like intended to assist those members in their PA in handling all the product research, including all corrections and removals. The main purpose of recall is any any uh, you know, product which is in the market, which is not suitable for the intended use, should be removed. Okay. The very first step is alert to the individual not to buy. Okay, that is the fact. So how about now? Let me disconnect and come. It will impact. So how about now, guys? It's better. Is it better audible now compared to the last time?
So now it's better, guys. I changed the another
to try. Is it better now? Yes, sir, better. Perfect. Let's move on. Thank you. So let's move now. So very importantly for the recall is the seriousness. Okay, seriousness of the product. So class 1 recall. So always there is a class 1, class 2, class 3. Class 3 recalls are there. So it is very important. Class 1 recalls are serious adverse health sequence, which is very high risk. Okay, which is like it can lead to death even. Okay, that is called as a class 1 recall. For example, class 1 recall is a label mix-up of two potent drug or a replacement of heart valve. For this is very closely similar to the medical device product also. Okay, so whatever we learned, okay, all these sessions, right? You can match the systems, both drug product, medical device product. So your certification, okay, will be kind of hinting that you're capable for the medical device industry as well. So this is a big platform, so that pharma industry, biopharmaceutical industry, as well as the medical device will be the scope. So your GMP will be taught accordingly. That's the reason. And the class 1 recall, the recall should be include all stocks of the true drugs in pharmacy with notification of all patients who receive the product. So there should be a process that if anything goes wrong, it's a responsibility they have to intimate. The best way now they are intimating is through the social network, or maybe some way of flash news in the news. All the ways they are trying to do their best. Okay, so but if you're going and getting some material from the medicines from the pharmacy, you don't have your database, right? So it will be always very subjective to address this. But it's voluntarily, you have to take your own self the data, and you have to go, means the information like what is really wrong with the medicine, and you have always the process to escalate yourself through the complaint raising. And once this has been accepted and there is a seriousness in this issue, definitely the company will take in responsibility to address this through a recall process. So recall will be having class 1, class 2, class 3. So if the recall involves the heart valve, all hospitals and all heart valve recipients would receive the notification. There should be a formal notification should go to the your channel. Okay, obviously there will be a channel. Your logistics is very important to play the role in this, because your logistics team knows that from your premises where it will go and lodge at the last destination. Till the last destination, you should have the chain of flow and you should accept that. Okay, so the chain of flow will be very clearly available with the logistics department, because they know that this product is sold to this market. Like 5,000 vials have been sent to US, 10,000 vials have been sent to Europe. So this database will be helpful to retrieve the product back. Okay, usually in the industry they call it as a mock recall. Okay, you might be done some mock drill for the fire safety, or ambulance training, or whatever maybe you call it as. So this is a similar way they will do a mock recall. Sometimes this major shutdowns will be done by big industry as well to perform this mock recalls. Why? They want to simulate the process and ensure that the process is adequate. Okay, for example, if you're in a 10-story building, there will be a situation how to evacuate in the emergency situation. They will do a mock drill, right? They will give some signal how best you are coming out, and they will be counting your heads. These are all the quality management system needed for the safety and emergency purpose. So similarly, when you have manufactured for example, like 20,000 vials, that particular manufacturing, the batch record, batch number will tell how many vials and where are all it has been distributed. That distribution record is very important document for you guys to understand these 20,000 wires have been went to this location, and these are the clients when utilized. Or it may be a hospital, or it may be a pharmacy. All this data should be available with the logistics, or at least the chain of link. For example, you have only up to the first and second distribution channel. Then second distribution channel should give you the data from the remaining chain till you reach to the retailer shop. Okay, the retailer should be knowing that to whom and all he has given this batch. That is very subjective, but he can able to identify that. Okay, we are still weak in this mapping of this data. Okay, so there can be a future improvement as well. So class 2 recalls involved products that use of the product or exposure to the product may cause temporary or medically reversible health consequence. Not a death, but there may be a huge side effect. Okay, we can say that no death, but side effects are severe. An example of class 2 recall is a subpotent drug product, which means 250 mg is my requirement in the paracetamol, but I have 200 mg only. Then it's a subpotent product. The recall usually includes the stock of drugs in the pharmacy. So the stock in the pharmacy, they will pull back. So that is the maximum extent you go and collect it, right? So you can go and collect the pullback from the pharmacy level. So what is the success of the recall? Can anyone guess what will be the success of the recall? If I manufacture 20,000 wires, if I manufacture 20,000 wires, what will be the success of my recall? If I retrieve all the 20,000 wires back, it's my success. Okay. If suppose there is 10 or 20 has been consumed, but there is no any serious risk has been identified, we are safe. But we have to be focused that the reconciliation, the 20,000 wires we manufacture has been not importantly to get back to the premises at least, but you halt the process. You tell that this is blocked, put a red tag for that. Don't go for the supply, hold it. So that is enough. Okay. In the mock recall, this drill will be done for the verification purpose, how best we can able to get the recall done. So class 1 material should be able to recall within 24 hours because of the risk involved. Class 2 sometimes 15 days. Class 3 can be 1 month. Okay, so this is the severity again. Okay, your risk, so that you have to act very quickly for the high risk element. 24 hours is for the class 1. So class 3 recalls involve the use of exposure product that is not likely to cause adverse health consequences. Okay. Plastic or animal part or something like that. So the vulnerability is very less in the class 3. So that can be considered as a recall situation state. Market withdrawal, okay, occurs when a product has a minor violation that would not be subject to FDA legal action. The firm removes the product from the market or correct the violation. For example, the product removed from the market due to tampering. Okay, there is some problem in the the security seal has been tampered. Okay, that is the indication that any the counterfeit drugs may involved. Got the point? When someone has tampered the seal, which means they taken the good vial and put the bad vial back and send it. So that is the tampering. There is no risk for the patient, but there is a quality impact, right? So then that is the situation for the market withdrawal. Medical device safety alert. It's issued in situation where a medical device that may present an unreasonable risk or substantial harm. Okay, so there is some situation, the reasonable risk will be there. So any kind of risk you can consider. So in that case, you have to pull back the material from the market. It is recommended to submit the information to local FDA district recall coordinator as soon as possible after the decision to recall is made, not waiting to submit information until all applicable information is prepared. So immediate, okay, you can work on the documentation and other steps, everything, but a very formal mail communication or telephonic communication or written communication should go to the legal FDA authorities. And also parallelly, you can make the public alert through any media form. Okay, it may be a public a social network, or maybe a media, whatever you can involve it. Recommend to include the following information in your recall submission: product information, a description of the, if it is a mix-up with the two different product, two complete sets of all product labeling, individual packing, pack inserts, code, lot and unit numbers, recalling firm, the firm details, contacts for recalling firm. Okay, so everything should be very clearly provided in the, the pamphlet or whatever maybe. Manufacturer details as well. Reason for recall. Explain in detail how product is defective or and or violative. Because if suppose someone has taken this product, they should be immediately rushing to the hospital to get a treatment, right? So what really went wrong? What can be the supportive they can able to do? Explain how the defects affects the performance and safety of the product. Okay, what is the scenario for the recall? What is the purpose? What kind of defect can happen to the product? Okay, subpotent molecule. For example, I want to have a 250 mg, but I took 200 mg. That's not a problem. There's no any risk for me, right? Because I took a substandard product. You have taken. That's not a problem because the effectiveness is less for you, but it's not a life threatening problem. But instead of um, some other general medicine, unfortunately you have taken some cytotoxic medicine, then it's a serious risk. You have to go to the doctor and you have to nullify the tablet whatever you have taken. Okay, so that's why people should be very careful when they are taking the medicine. Read the tablet details and take a proper control and then take the medicine. Okay, so pay attention in that part. So if the recall is due to the presence of contamination, like cleaning fluid, machine, oil, paint, explain level of contaminant in the product. Okay, if it's something like a glass particle, so you explain this is a glass particle mix-up. If you see some previous history of the industry recall, there will be a situation like yesterday is benzene, right? Few months back there was a recall stating that bacterial contamination was there in a sterile product. They got a bacterial contamination, which means the product is not sterile. If they inject the product which is not sterile into the body stream, what will happen? As a science student, you know that. Okay, our blood is pure form, which is a sterile form. I hope everyone knows that there is no any organism in the blood. Okay, but you can able to make, if you are injecting the organism into the blood, obviously you will be getting some other consequences, right? So if the recall is due to failure of the product to meet product specification, provide the specification and all report and all test data. Provide the sample analysis copy. Okay, if the recall is due to label ingredient issue, provide correct and incorrect labels. What is correct label? What is incorrect label? Please educate the person who is need to aware of this recall situation. Explain how the problem occurred and the date it has occurred. So you have to explain all the details about how it has been occurred. Explain how the problem was discovered and the date of discovery. So when you have discovered, how you have discovered. Provide detailed information on complaints associated with the product. So you have to provide the detailed complaint also about the product. So volume of recalled product, okay, total quantity produced, as we discussed, date of production, quantity distributed, estimate amount remaining in the marketplace, distributor level, retailer level, user level. So all these statistics will come into the picture. Distribution pattern, you may be selling to wholesaler or distributor, repackers, manufacturer, retail shop, pharmacy, foreign consignees, or hospital institution supply, or directly you're having your own distribution channel, or what is it, CNF they call it as, carrying and forwarding service. Okay, provide a consignee list. This is the place where the your logistics team will support you. The consignee list, right? They have these 20,000 vials.
where it went to which one of the people. Recall strategy indicate the level in the distribution chain to which you are extending the recall. You want to extend till the distribution chain or wholesale, retail. It depends upon the scenario. Okay. Indicate the method of notification: mail, phone, fax, and email, as well as allowed. Indicate how letters will be sent to customers. Okay, so how the process of communication to be established. Report on what you have instructed customer to do with the recalled product. So if suppose always it is cost once again to bring back, but of course sometimes for example, if I have my control in the US, okay, there is a common distribution place. I don't want to bring the recall product to my premises. I can hold it in the US where I have my own custody place, because if you're recalling back this product to India, always there will be a, litigation, custom clearance, why it is coming back. All these process will be there. So you can have a control that you can establish the procedure when it comes to my grip. Okay, if I have a control location in US and all the supplied material come to that particular destination where my product first launched or first landed in the warehouse. Once it has been collected there, you can destroy the material in that place itself with a proper recording structure. Okay, someone will be doing the job who is a representative of you. They will be break all the wires or use the effluent treatment to treat all the wires in the particular format, and discard the glass wires, as well as they have to crush the glass wire. Okay, and the rubber stoppers should be thrown because they should not be reused, right? So all this will be discarded. Document evidence will be there for that data. Okay, that avoids to bring back to India, and lot of cost will be involved, right, for the transportation and everything. So that's the reason. Public notification, yes, in a situation where the product may pose a significant health hazard, definitely you have to have a public notification. Product identification. So identification of the product is very important, and depth of the um, recall. The recall notification should clearly identify the depth of the recall, to which extent it has been done, wholesale, retailer, or user level. So more the seriousness, more the deep to the review process. Instruction to the customer. Okay, so effectiveness of the recall. So how you calculate the effectiveness of the recall? By reconciliation. So 20,000 vials in the market, bringing back 90,900, and 100 has been used. Go and get the data. How to get the data of the 900, 100 people used. Okay, so that is your smartness. How you are getting the data back, or how you are alerting the team. Not even they got it, they should not use it. Okay, that is the system for the pharma product controls. How to track the medicines till where level it has been reached. Root cause of the problem that resulted in recall, corrective action and preventive action, future recurrence. So all these is a routine program to ensure that next time I should not have this problem. So here is an example. Tylenol tragedies. In the fall of 1982, 7 people in Chicago, okay, died after injecting extra strength, okay, Tylenol laced with potassium cyanide. Sparked a citywide panic. For days, police cruised the street, blaring, warning that residents should discard the product. So obviously, if suppose something find like this now, definitely they should go for this kind of, alarming public information kind of thing to be reached to the everyone. This is again a Johnson & Johnson product. Johnson & Johnson spent millions of dollars recalling this product from the stores nationwide. Okay, so Johnson & Johnson is very, very used to have this kind of recall process. I think if you go and check for these Johnson & Johnson baby powder, I believe, okay, that also been highlighted as a, it's a cancer generating particles are there in the powder. Okay, there is some raw material which can able to can cause the cancer. And one lady got filed the case against Johnson & Johnson. She won the case also. by proving lot of data, because it's not very easy to prove that you maybe use some other treatment also for your skin. But she proved everything, that with all the evidences of the thing. So from her young age, she was using only the Johnson & Johnson powder, and she got the compensation for that. So that details are there in the internet. So if anyone interested in knowing more about all these kind of list of recalls, always you are having a platform to go and double check the data. I think we have done for the day with the recall. So if any doubts, as usual, we have a platform, our Google form, so that you can able to link with us through the link of shared about this form. And then now we have completed the general topics, okay, which is common for all the different course modules. So now the next week onwards, tomorrow I think we'll be starting and working with the CSV team for 2 days, and then Monday we'll be having again a class for QA, and then followed by GMP and then QC. Okay, so each day we'll be working with each people as well. Okay, so now we are planning to arrange the certification, and again there is one more option we are planning, that if you want another additional certificate from Pharmageny. Okay, so our certificate is also valid because we have done many kind of certification programs worldwide as well. We have given in China, and we have given for Bangladesh and many companies, but we are given for the companies. Okay, so if you want our certificate also, that is possible. If anyone interested, please contact us. Again, that is payable, so that will be the same course. Okay, you will be getting additional one more certificate from Pharmageny. So that is again payable. Now, whatever the certificate you are giving, so whatever the certificate we are giving now, that is through authority, what is like governmental body, assessment body, that they are charging. Okay, that we have to pay some amount from your whatever you pay to us will be given to them as well. Okay, so they will conduct the assessment for on behalf of us, as well as they give the certificate for you. So if you want, that certificate is the LSSDC certificate, which I shown you right in the initial class. If you want our certificate, we can share a template of our certificate during our next sessions. If you are interested, you can contact us. So obviously we'll work for giving one more certificate for the same course. So in that case, you will be having two certifications. One is from international expert, one is from the national LSDC government body. Ours is a kind of consulting firm which is recognized internationally. We have done a lot of international projects as well as Indian projects as well. So this is for your mind, thought for your mind, and you can think about that. If you want, we can go ahead. What will be the cost there? So we are working out on that. So the minimum cost will be 1,000 rupees per certificate. Okay, if you have multiple certificate, we can think, because our aim is to provide the certificate. So if you have taken 2 or 3 courses, we will have definitely the kind of discount for you guys. Okay, so one certificate is cost 1,000 rupees. So there won't be any further kind of courses will be there, because this course with the 2 certification, one is from our end and one is from the LSDC. So it will add a value in your resume. And tonight by 10 p.m. is the cutoff time for your internship. So each one, please identify 5 topics which are already given. So we made some work for how to make that alignment of this. So whoever first come will be first served. So if suppose someone entered in the very initial stage one topic, that will be definitely freeze for them. The second person will be having given the second choice if it's already been frozen in the initial stage. Any assessment required for the certificate? No. For the new certificate from us, no need of assessment, because one assessment will be enough, because we rate your output from the presentation as well as the output from the assessment. So don't worry about that. This is some additional certification we discussed within internally with us, with our team, why we can't support with the team with the additional certificate, so that people will have two certifications. One is recognized from national, and one is from the industry, because Pharmageny has its own grip of clients in international, as well as globally, as well as nationally. Okay, so that will make definitely you to get a very close connection with the team, with many HR for getting this kind of acceptance, so that they know our value. Okay, what we deliver in the market. So when a student comes from Pharmageny, which means that we are giving the quality students to the society or the industry. Okay, that will be really a good positive sign for you guys when you're going with the set of certifications. And payment, we can discuss about that, and we'll give you a link, so that you can able to do that with your link. Okay, with our link we'll be providing. Whoever is interested, first let's get the data, then we can think about it. Because for this certification, if it's going to be hard copy, okay, we are planning to give a hard copy, so that's why we are charging. We have to make all this readiness, and we have to think about how to ship it to you. Of course, we can able to ship it, or we can come directly to your college and we can distribute as well. Okay, we have a network to come to the college if everything goes well with this pandemic situation. Once you're back to the college, if not, we'll try to post it also as well. Okay, so that is the situation for the another certification plan. And also there is another Google form. So nowadays we have a lot of Google forms. Okay, so now another Google form will be already circulated, right? So it is already circulated for the payment VIT not paid or non-paid. So it is something to track. If you can't able to pay to the VIT through your VTOP link, okay, so please pay attention here. If you couldn't able to pay through your, just a minute, I think there is something going, there's a problem. Yes, so if suppose your payment link is not active still, and till 19th you can't able to do anything, then we can open our link and we can able to connect with you guys for paying directly to us. Of course, we want to discuss with them with the your will both certificate be hard copy? Of course, yes, the both certificate will be in hard copy. I am expecting the LSDCC will be giving a hard copy to us, and once you pay to us, we will also provide you a hard copy. That's the reason we are charging, okay, to make all the things behind the scene to be ready, and it should be valid when you're taking to your interview process or any further discussions. Okay, so next is today is at 10 o'clock for your cutoff for the payment link, as well as non-paid payment link also is today's 10 o'clock. Right? So please, I think most of you acknowledge that you verified the list. It's really happy, but unfortunately we are still stuck up that we don't know what is the real number as of now. But based on the attendance and other data, everything we are working out. So of course, there was a little unclear situation in the initial, because we got completely around 470 members has been registered for this. There was a duplication and triplication and quadruplication selection of the courses. Okay, and with that intention only, the timings have been kept not overlapping. Okay, and unfortunately, when we landed up, it was about 270 or not even 70, right? 250 plus, something like that. So this is a very normal numbers we got, and the effort we put is really a extraordinary effort we put. I hope you might be understood from the classes, I believe, right? So if you have any feedback, there will be soon a feedback form will be circulated to all of you for the before the end of the course. Of course, you can give your valuable suggestions that